Welcome to Pre-Snap Podcast, presented by LineStar app. Here's your host, Casey Bubba and Scott Bogman.
And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Pre-Snap Podcast, brought to you by the wonderful people at LineStar Sports. Make sure you check them out on Twitter at LineStar app and at LineStar NFL. And more importantly, download the app in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Everything you need in the palm of your hands to build your winning DFS lineups. You can check me out on Twitter at BDentric and my co-host, as always, on Twitter at Bogman Sports. Scott Bogman, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm looking at this first game, and I'm just laughing. I mean, this first one is, it could be a good one, but I don't expect it to be. So we talked about that on the betting show. A lot of games that are a little ugly looking this week.
Yeah.
So
it's a rough go, folks. It's a 12-game main slate. There's only 2 games with spreads in the 50s and they're low 50s, like stop blowouts. Most of the teams we love to stack are on primetime. Somewhere like we had Packers Arizona last night. You're going to have the Chiefs on Monday night. Sunday night you have Dallas and Minnesota. Like these teams we love to use, not happening. So this might be a week to take some chances. I'll say that much. Take some chances and see what happens. We got 12 games, so we'll get cooking. The one Bogman's talking about, Carolina at the Atlanta Falcons, over under 46 in this one. Bogman, do you think I on the bet show I took the over? I can't remember what you took. I think you took the under. So you're not a believer in this game for DFS, are you?
not really. I mean, you look at. First of all, have you seen Robbie Anderson's Yahoo pick? He looks like the Island Boys.
Island Boys. That's his DraftKings picker too. It's the Island Boys, man.
The Island Boys.
They might have better hands than he does.
They definitely do. So
at least their hair would stick to it. It's cool.
I mean, you can't start Darnold obviously because who knows if he's going to get benched or not. Matt Ryan, I guess, would be an okay play at 59 and 7,200. Don't mind him at this price. I think Cordell Patterson is a possible start. I like his price at 62 and 73. DJ Moore, I feel like, is always on the table. Kyle Pitts is a play as well. I don't know if I want to pay up for Calvin Ridley. I know I don't want to chase Russell Gage 2 weeks in a row. So I guess Calvin would be in play, but it's, I don't know. I don't like this game.
Yeah, if you want to put something here, I don't mind a little Atlanta stack. I like Atlanta in this game and putting up some points. So Matty, and it's affordable. So Matty Ice at 59 on DK, 72 on FanDuel is in play. Cordell Patterson, I'm not paying 73 on FanDuel, but 62 on DK in a tournament, I can see. If you want to get a little weird, I can see that as an option.
I mean, they're just not using Mike Davis anymore. He's he's cuttable in year-long leagues, and there's no way you can roster him in DFS. So
Patterson's interesting there. Ridley's still cheap on DK, but man, the usage last week really scared me. But it's going to lower his ownership, so that makes it an appealing play as well. And then last but not least, you mentioned Kyle Pitts. He's up to 63 on DK, 68 on FanDuel. It's Pitts season, folks. It's happening. So get used to it. Get ready for it. So I like that. Not a lot. I like if Darnold plays the whole game, I guess that makes DJ Moore in play, but it's a big if. So it's pretty much a Falcon stack, and that's about all. I will say this much with CMC still out, Chuba Hubbard at 6K and 66 let everybody down last week. I don't mind going back to him this week. I think that's one of those low-owned plays that he's going to get touches that could pop off in a big way, because I think there are points to be scored in this game, and I do not believe in this Atlanta defense. So I think that could be a nice little play there with Chuba Hubbard.
I think I'm going to like Matt Ryan the more we look at this slate. So I think Matt Ryan's going to grow on me a little bit.
At that price, it's definitely going to happen. It just accept it, Bogman. Accept it. Cincinnati at the New York Jets, over under 42. Cincinnati coming off a beat down in Baltimore. Looks like they have another one on tap for the Jets.
Yeah, which makes it kind of hard in this game. Like you don't really have NFL level wholesale changes, right? Like where a team is getting beat up and we just go ahead and rest all their guys, but that could happen in this game and it wouldn't be shocking. There's not a Jet I would use, not a single one. So we can just scratch all Jets off of the table here. As far as the Bengals go, Burrow's not a bad price, 71, 78. He's not overhyped or anything. I think that's decent. I don't want Mixon or P. Ryan because they started splitting them. So I'm going to pass on them. Chase at any point is a decent buy. I like this Higgins price at 52 and 63. I think that's a real good price. I would like Tyler Boyd, but they haven't been utilizing him enough. CJ Uzomah, he didn't get the crazy boost that I thought he was going to get after his 2 touchdown week last week. So 37 and 57, I think, is a pretty decent price too. So Bengal stack is definitely in play.
100%. Burrow, don't mind him at all. Love Chase, but Higgins is probably my favorite play. That's price per dollar, 52 on DK, 63 on FanDuel. I think he had 11 or 12 targets last week. Just didn't convert it to like the Chase level, but he still put up a monster game, double-digit fantasy points. He's a great cash game play. I write about him every single week in my cash game article, and I don't mind him in a stack as well. So Burrow, Chase, Higgins, and I don't mind going to Uzomah, as you said, 37 and 57 respectively. I guess it's like he maximized. He had 3 catches and the two of them were touchdowns, big plays. But that's what you expect out of this offense if you're stacking them. So I don't mind it. If you're not stacking them, though, I would say I don't mind in tournaments Samaje Perine, especially at 49 on DK. If they're splitting loads and you think Cincinnati dominates this football game, they could rest Mixon to keep him healthy.
I would rather play P. Ryan than Mixon
100%.
At the prices. And I don't mean to interrupt you, but I forgot the best play in this game is the Cincinnati defense against the New York Jets.
Yahtzee. Cincinnati 36 on DK, 49 on FanDuel. I don't usually like to pay up for defense, but this might be a week to do it. I already added them in most of my season-long leagues. I paid fab dollars for them this week. Like, I made sure to get them. So I like that. You said no Jets are in play. I'll be devil's advocate here. If you need to get really, I said this might be a week to get weird. Michael Carter's workload is growing exponentially, and especially in the passing game. And Magic Mike can't throw it downfield, so he's been checking down to Michael Carter the whole time last week. At $4,900 on DK in a PPR format, kind of intriguing.
I mean, okay. I'm not going to have a harsh argument against that. He was using the passing game a bunch last week. I just don't trust this team to score at all.
I agree.
Maybe it'll get better with Mike White because Zach Wilson's holding on the ball too long and he's never scrambling. So he's just standing back there and getting smashed. So, but standing back there with Hubbard and Trey Hendrickson bearing down on you, ain't going to be good for Mike White. So Western Kentucky and the New York Jets are different. Facing Middle Tennessee State or the Bengals is a way different look, I would say.
Ask Urban Meyer. It's like playing Alabama every week. All right, we head to Seattle. Jaguars, Seahawks, over under 43.5. We said we don't have good games, folks. There ain't many of them. This ain't one of them.
Okay. I like Trevor Lawrence's price, man. 55 and 6,700. That's going to free up a lot more money for you to buy those high price running backs and wideouts. Maybe even get you a premium tight end this week if you buy in on. I think you can do that with Matt Ryan too. But I like Trevor Lawrence. I hate that this is on the road against Seattle because T-Law's going to have to deal with all that noise. And I know. Look, Joe Burrow said it last week that the SEC stadiums get louder than some of these NFL stadiums, but Seattle's a different level. So even when they're bad, the people show up and scream. So, but they had 2 weeks to prep for it. So, I mean, he's got to be ready for it. I can't imagine they didn't practice with hand signals and that kind of stuff. And if they didn't, they did. I mean, come on. Even Urban Meyer has.
It's Urban Meyer, man. I wouldn't be surprised if anything right about now.
Even Urban Meyer. I love this price for James Robinson at 6,000 and 6,600 against a bad front four for Seattle. They have good linebackers and Jamal Adams back there, but the front four is rough. And they're missing Darrell Taylor didn't play last week. He got carted off in that Sunday night game against Pittsburgh. But he had the option to play, I think, this week. And just, they decided to sit him and give him another week, but he is okay. So, DK Metcalf is 68 and 74. I think you just got to pepper him. I don't know if this is going to be the week that they do it, but you're on your backup quarterback. You're starting running backs down. Pepper your best player with targets. So I think they need to do it. I just don't have confidence that they will. And I love LaVisca's price at 47 and 58. And that's all I can buy in this game. This game is ugly.
It's a rough one. I'll let you have your Trevor Lawrence. I don't disagree with it. I can't do it. What I love in this game is James Robinson, like you said, 66 on DK, 82 on FanDuel. Seattle is a run sieve. So like I love James Robinson. We were mad the first few weeks because the way they were using him, that changed, and he's been a monster. One of the best fantasy running backs in football right now. So love me some James Robinson in this game. I don't mind the LaVisca thing. I agree. I don't mind Marvin Jones either. His target share has been great. 59 on DK, 64 on FanDuel. So I think if you're stacking Lawrence, you got both those options. Otherwise, I'm pretty much just James Robinson in this game. It's going to be an ugly football game. Oh. I will say Jaguars defense at $2,400. If you're punting defense, this is the kind of stuff I live for. And against Geno Smith, it's interesting.
I think I got to pay up and take Cincinnati. I can't do it.
Just gonna say it. All right. Rams at the Houston Texans. This is one of our better chances, I guess. Oh, God, this slate sucks. This slate's so bad. Rams at the Texans, over under 47.5. Bogman, are we stacking up the Rams again?
I think you can. Absolutely. Once again, not afraid of wholesale changes in games, unless it's college, but this could be one of them too. But I think because we don't see that in the NFL that much, Darrell Henderson, 6,500, 7,700. Just imagine him in the fourth quarter against a defense that has given up, right? And I know that's what we thought we were going to see last week. And Detroit pulled out all the stops. They, went onside kick. They went 2 fake punts. They didn't go for it on some fourths, which was kind of weird.
No sense at all. No sense at all.
Just go for that. Like you're doing it anyway, all over the place. You're going to onside kick after your first score and get it and not go on fourth down. That I don't understand. But anyway, getting back to this game. Look, Darrell Henderson running against this team in the fourth quarter is going to be rough. They traded away their starting running back. The Texans did. So I guess it'll be Lindsey or David Johnson. I'm not willing to pay up for either one of them to find out this week at all. I love Cooper Kupp, but he's probably too expensive. If you're going to go with a cheap quarterback, you can pay up for Cooper Kupp. So I'm in on that. I think Robert Woods is a decent price, 63, 68. I think you can go revenge game Brandon Cooks, 57 and 6 down, specifically if Tyrod gets in this game. I trust Cooks way, way more. Don't think he is, but he's got a shot. I know he's back at practice, but they took him off the IR and opened up his 21-day window. So they don't have to bring him back here. Rams defense is expensive, but in play, I think I'd rather go with Cincinnati because they're cheaper, but they're in play as well. So maybe Cooks. He's the only guy in Houston, and then stack your Rams.
Yeah, I'm with you. Stafford and Kupp is a great combo. I don't mind Woods. Even Van Jefferson's got some, if you think it's a total Rams beatdown. But I love Darrell Henderson in this one. I let people down last week. I think it's a big bounce back spot for him. I think a lot of last week was also, like we talked about, is it wasn't the blowout we expected, but I think a lot of it was Matt Stafford wanted to throw on his team. I think that's what a lot of it was because they just kind of went away from the running game, which they've utilized. They've at least utilized Henderson in the passing game if they don't run the ball or whatever. He was just non-existent for the most part. I don't see that happening again this week, so I think he's a great play, as you mentioned. And I love the Brandon Cooks call. I don't mind it with Mills. I love it with Tyrod, like you said. I think it's a very, very, very good spot as well. I'd love to get a Ram stack. I will say Kupp's expensive in cash. He's still worth the price.
Yeah,
gonna throw it out there. To stack up in a tournament, it's tricky. It's doable. It's tricky, but in cash, you need to find a way to get Cooper Kupp in your lineup. All right, Miami Dolphins, Buffalo Bills, another bad football game. Over under 49.5. It's a bad football game with a high total because the Bills are going to score so many points.
Look, you can stack Buffalo here. Josh Allen's crazy expensive, so I don't think I want him. I don't want Buffalo running backs. Look, I'll say I don't hate Myles Gaskin at 56 and 5,700 as far as Miami goes, specifically because they got him involved in the passing game last week. So if we're going to see more of that, which I think he definitely can. I mean, Myles Gaskin, everyone looks at him and goes, small guy. He's like Austin Eckler and blah, blah. He's not. This guy carried the load at Washington. So he carried the load for Miami last season when they were bad and ran the ball a bunch. So I do like Gaskin. Sometimes they go away from him, which drives me crazy. This coaching staff is driving me nuts, Bubba. I mean, you know better than me.
Yep.
But then on the Buffalo side, pay for Diggs. You absolutely can. Sanders, I like Beasley. Between Sanders and Beasley, I think I'm always going to take the cheaper guy. Beasley's cheaper this week at 49 and 61. I think I'd take him. Waddle's always in play for Miami. Nothing else is in play. Well, Gesicki could be in play, but he's too expensive for me. Tommy Sweeney, if you're punting tight end, since Dawson Knox isn't going to play here, is a decent one. Out of Boston College, caught his first touchdown 2 weeks ago when the Bills last played. So he could be in play. Not interested in anything else in this game.
Yeah, the Sweeney call is a nice value. I'm with you there. I think stacking the Bills is a great call. Josh Allen owns the Dolphins. He's expensive, but he owns the Dolphins, so I'm cool with that. I think Stephon Diggs is one of my favorite receiver plays of the week. Dolphins play a ton of man coverage, and Stephon Diggs destroys man coverage. He's let people down all year. This feels like the week where Diggs goes monstrous. Couple touchdowns, 150, 200 yards. This feels like a big Stephon Diggs week. Can throw that out there. The contrarian angle in my head, hear me out. I think stacking Tua with Waddle, Gesicki, and Stephon Diggs is very fun.
Okay.
Because no one's going to roster Miami. Because the one thing Miami is going to do is they might not score a lot. They might get blown out. They're going to throw a ton.
We saw Tua throw 4 touchdowns last week. So
Tua was the number one. Tua was the number one fantasy quarterback last week by points. And he's been back-to-back like 25-plus point performances.
Trade to Pittsburgh. Let's go.
Garbage time.
Tua to Pittsburgh. I'm starting it. Let's go.
Oh, that would break my heart because I'd never hear the end of it. But I think like you could go an onslaught on this game because I think Miami will do enough to be fantasy relevant at the same time getting destroyed. So I think there's definitely an angle to be played in that game. And play Stephon Diggs, please. The New England Patriots head to Los Angeles to take on the Los Angeles Chargers. Over under 49, Bogman. Chargers coming off a bye week. Could be a nice week to stack them up.
Yeah, look, my favorite buy in this whole game is Damian Harris, 61 and 6,900, because the Chargers have been horrific on run defense. So I think that is the Patriots' number one strategy in this game is give the rock to Damian Harris, keep the Chargers offense on the sideline. Don't know that it's going to work. And New England will play everyone tough, but I don't think they're going to be able to beat the Chargers. So I still think the Chargers are going to win this game, but they will make life difficult. So I'm not willing to really pay for Herbert. Don't want to pay for Mac Jones on the road. I think they're going to key in on Eckler. So he's not my buy, but Keenan Allen at 65 and 69 isn't a horrible price. Mike Williams more expensive at 77 and 76. I think I'd rather have Keenan, but they're both in play. Don't really want to mess with wideouts in New England. I would take Hunter Henry at 42 and 55. I think he's a good price as well. And that's about all I like in this game. Brandon Bolden isn't a bad buy at 45 and 55 because I think he's trending towards that James White role.
Yeah, if you think that the Chargers kind of run away with it, Bolden's a great play. It's kind of like, do you want to go Bolden or do you want like Samaje Perine? Like that same price range. That's kind of where my head would be at right now. But
I think I'd go with Bolden just because the Rams or the Chargers run defense has been so bad. He's not going to carry the ball that much, but he can carry it better than James White.
True, definitely. I like the Harris call. That's not too shabby. I want to find a way to stack the Chargers. I just don't love it right now, like you're saying. Like Herbert's good. I like Keenan Allen's price tag. That's great. Mike Williams. I think coming off a bye week, they could really do some damage, especially if New England focuses on stopping Eckler. Herbert could throw all over him. So that could be quite interesting. The other play I like how you mentioned Hunter Henry, 42 and 55. Jonnu Smith's battling a shoulder injury. Might not even play this week. If Jonnu's out, that really centers things on Hunter Henry, who's finding the end zone pretty regularly the last few weeks. So I like his price tag at 42 and 55 in this matchup. Let's go to Detroit because we have to. Philadelphia at the Detroit Lions. I almost said Tigers on this one. Might as well be. They probably put the same amount of points. But the over-under is 48 on this one, Bogman, and this is just bad football.
How about some run game here on both sides? Detroit 21st in the league against the run, allowing 120 yards per game. Philly 29th, 133 yards per game. So let's stack up some running backs here. Kenny Gainwell in there for a down Miles Sanders. I think Jalen Hurts could be in play at 72 and 84 just for the simple fact that he is also going to run the ball. But Boston Scott at 44 and 58 isn't a bad punt running back price there. I think he's in the mix with Bolden and Samaje Perine, who we just mentioned. But DeAndre Swift, 71 and 79, decent buy. He's been great last couple weeks. I'm a little worried about Jamal Williams' overall value for the rest of the season, but in this game, I think he should run, and he should be running in the fourth quarter too, if the Lions get up at all. So I think he's a decent buy. It takes me out on wide receivers overall in this game. Don't really want to mess with anyone. But I might mess around with Dallas Goedert at 47 and 59 or Hawkinson at 54 and 62. I think both these teams have a rough time covering the tight end. So running backs and tight ends for me here.
Yeah, as bad as this football game is, Jalen Hurts is still fantasy relevant. He puts up like he's
this always has.
Yeah, top scoring fantasy quarterback on the season. He's just consistent because he runs. As much as he's tough to watch, he puts up points, and I can't leave him out at 72 on DK, 84 on FanDuel. I like the DK price a little better. He's in play. I'm going to say that much. He's definitely in play. I would pair him up with Dallas Goedert in a heartbeat. I think that relationship's going to keep growing. That could have been a much bigger game for Goddard last week than it was. Yeah. I think that's going to be kind of his safety valve because Devontae Smith.
How dare you not perform on National Tight Ends Day?
Yes,
come on.
You're like the only one that didn't. I mean, everybody else did. But because Devontae Smith just ain't cutting it right now. It's weird. Like he's going to eventually. He's going to have some big games, but I can't do it. So it's pretty much Hurts, Goddard. I'll keep playing DeAndre Swift because of his workload. It's ridiculous, especially in PPR formats at 7,100 on DK. I like that, but as a whole, I'm going to avoid a lot of this game if I can. But I think a lot of people will, and that makes some of it kind of appealing in a tournament. All right, Pittsburgh at Cleveland, over under 42.5. Bogman.
Yeah, look, I know I'm a homer here, but I think I like Pittsburgh more than I like Cleveland in this game. I'm taking them. I did take the under, so I'm not going to mess around with too much of this game, right? But I think Najee's just in play every single week. 75 and 9. I know it's expensive. Nick Chubb is actually cheaper than him, but I think it's because Nick Chubb is not 100%. So I don't think I want to mess with Chubb unless he is 100%. He could still run all over the Steelers, and I wouldn't be shocked. But Steelers actually play decent run defense, which is why I'm going to pick them in this game too. But I don't really want to mess with wide receivers on the Brown side either. Dearness Johnson at 54 and 67 isn't terrible, but he did get priced up after his huge win last week. Deontay and Chase, I would much prefer Deontay. Chase is still playing hurt. He's playing through it, but he's playing hurt. There's nobody else to take. James Washington isn't getting snaps. Dude, Ray is rough. You don't want to go with him. Anthony Miller might have a decent role in this game for Pittsburgh if he gets a helmet. So he would be interesting, but I'm just not brave enough to do it. Pat Freiermuth in play here at 36 and 49. I think either defense here is in play as well. For some reason, dude, the Steelers 4,300, Browns at 3,000. So doesn't look like DraftKings has a lot of confidence in the Browns either this week. So I like the Pittsburgh side. There's just not a lot to love on the Browns side because they're so banged up. If they were healthy in this game, I would love Baker. I would love if they picked one tight end, I would love it. And Chubb and especially Kareem Hunt, I would love in this game. But the Steelers get to play without all of that. So,
yeah, it's going to be my normal formula with Pittsburgh. I like Najee Harris, especially on DK at 75 with that PPR format, and Deontay Johnson at 67. Like that's who I like. I like playing them. Otherwise, I don't want much of anything to do with them. So give me Najee, give me Deontay, and give me nothing else in this game. I guess the only other thing I would say if you don't want Najee or Deontay and you think it's a bad football game, I'd still play it. Like the Browns defense is cheap. I'd still play a different defense.
That's fair, dude.
Yeah.
Miles Garrett. Yeah. Miles Garrett gets to Ben a lot.
Can't move. Yeah, Ben can't move. Like you could see a sack fumble in a heartbeat.
Yeah, that's why he's throwing the ball so fast. It's because he knows he's a statue. And he's sick of getting hit. He already has the hip injury. He's talking about it today, how it messes everything up. And as he gets healthier and that gets a little better, he's going to get better. But he's still old. Not good.
He's still old. All right, a game we might just want to skip. We'll see. San Francisco at Chicago, over under 39.5. Scott Bogman.
Eli Mitchell is in play here at 54 and 58.
Price tag, actually, yeah.
Debo is in play every week at 74 and 78. And that's it. No, I can't do anything else in this game. Maybe San Francisco defense.
Maybe Debo is in play every week. Eli Mitchell's in play. I think Khalil Herbert at 54 and 65 is in play as well. I think
So
that's interesting.
here's the thing that worries me about Herbert, and he's been great. And they might just go back to him and say, hey, look, this is our number 2 now, right? But Damian Williams was on the COVID list, and he did play last week, but he didn't get activated until Saturday, which means he couldn't practice or show up for meetings or any of that stuff until Saturday. On the depth chart, he's ahead of Herbert. So who gets the ball? Is it Damian Williams because he's 2, or is it Khalil Herbert? I don't know. Matt Nagy has COVID right now. He won't tell anyone where he is, I guess. I don't know what the hell's going on with that. But I'm out on the Bears offense.
That's fair.
Until we see something turn around. I would love to see Fields. They are just ruining him, dude. They need to get put Dalton back in. If this is what you're going to do to Fields, don't ruin him for the rest of his life. Get Dalton back in. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's very fair. Very, very fair. But I think for the most part, a game to pass on. Tampa Bay at New Orleans. We get to one of our higher totals on this slate. Thanks, sweet baby Jesus. Over under a 50 in this game. It looks like another Tampa Bay domination game to me, Bogman.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it on the betting show. We think this is going to be a stomping. Now, look, though, I love my man Leonard, but I don't want to play him against New Orleans. New Orleans 3rd in the NFL against the run, allowing 80.8 yards per game. But you know who's number 1? Tampa Bay, 67.4 yards. So I don't want Alvin Kamara either, who is like the one saint you can play on a week-to-week basis. So I guess you could play Callaway at 54 and 59 as a decent price. With the way Jameis was screaming at Traquan, you can't play him at 39 and 55. You can play whatever receiver you want on the Tampa Bay side. Mike Evans, 7,000, 7,500. For whatever reason, I don't have
just looking at
Chris Godwin listed on here, but you can play Godwin.
He's 64 on DK. I don't know what his FanDuel price is.
Yeah, I must have just missed him when I was putting this together. Ty Johnson at 31 and 49 isn't a bad cheap price, but it didn't work last week with the AB down. By the way, our boy PZP had told me some interesting stuff about AB. Seems like this is going to be a multiple week absence. But
that's what the reports came out and said today.
Not because of injury, though. I will tell you after the show. There's some behind the scenes stuff going on there, but he could be gone for a little bit. Gronk coming back, not 100%. Don't want to use him. They split tight ends in New Orleans. Have no interest in that. Bucks defense maybe at 42 on both sides, but I still like the Bengals defense better, and they're cheaper. So,
yeah, no, I like it a lot. It's starting to turn into my Chiefs feels earlier in the year. Is just stack the Bucks every week. Brady at 74 and 83 with Evans and Godwin, especially with no AB. We saw last week, it makes things real simple. Like real simple. It's a beautiful thing. More often than not, it'll be simple. Let me clarify that. So I think it's a great stack against New Orleans because they're going to throw early and often. And the route tree for New Orleans is all over the place because Kamara is the only guy. And they stopped the running game, but I think they at least will be able to pass it a ton to Kamara, dump off City. So see how that goes, but I don't think I'm going to pay the price for it. So yeah, just give me a buck stack and walk away. That's where I'm looking at on that one. My favorite game of the week, sadly, with as bad as this slate is, I think it'll be a lot of people's favorite game this week, which makes it chalky. Tennessee at Indianapolis, over under a 51 with a spread of 1, which means it should be a back and forth close shootout on paper. I love this game, Bogman. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot to like here. Number 1, Jonathan Taylor, 72 and 85. I don't care. Tennessee's run D is bad. They are right now. They're actually not as bad as I thought. They're 9th in the league, 103.3 yards per game, but they're going to get exposed by Jonathan Taylor. He'll run all over him. So, and if he's not running, they'll throw little flares to him. They've been going to him more, and I think it's a smart thing to do for them. AJ Brown at 69.76 is a decent price. I love the price on Pittman at 53 and 66. Love Pittman. And, who knows about T.Y. Hilton? Maybe he's going to play, maybe in, I don't know. But who cares? Let's go with Michael Pittman. I'm in on Julio. And I know that's going to come to a surprise as a lot of people, but I don't think he was healthy last week. He's had 2 weeks to recover from this. This is a banged up Colts secondary. They're down a corner. They're down a safety. I think he could have a big week this week. So AJ is going to get Kenny Moore. So I think Julio on the other side against who knows at this point could have a decent week as well. Outside of that, I don't want to mess with the tight ends. I know a lot of people like Mo Alley Cox, but you're touchdown dependent, and I don't ever want to roll with that. I would rather take Ferkser because I think he'll get some catches, but no defense in this game. So AJ Brown, Julio, Pittman, Jonathan Taylor. Anytime you want to play Derrick Henry, of course you can play him. Not really interested in either one of the quarterbacks, though.
We're on the same page for the most part. I don't mind either quarterback, especially if you're stacking the game up. I prefer Tannehill, but no problem saving money to go to Wentz. Tannehill's 66 on DK, Wentz is 57. Tannehill's 75 on FanDuel, Wentz is 72, so that's pretty similar. But Wentz is using his legs a lot lately, which is good to see. Tannehill does as well. I think I'd probably go maybe use the savings on Wentz, but I like the receivers for Tannehill better, if that makes sense. Like, I love the price tag on Brown at 69 and 76 and Julio at 58 and 65. I'm with you. Both two great price tags. I love Pittman's price. That's way too cheap in this game. Like, that's a phenomenal cash game play and just overall play. Love Taylor, love Henry. Taylor's price tag still too good at $7,200. That is outstanding. So I love this game. I'm going to have to try to find ways to mix and match, try to be a little different, but it's the usual suspects. Maybe I'll get different with other games or something, but I think it's a really, really good potential game stack. There's not a lot of good game stacks out there. This is one I definitely want to get some exposure to and maybe just be different elsewhere. Like we talked about in baseball, eat some chalk, be different elsewhere. Final game of the week. Let's be different elsewhere. Washington at Denver. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. It's over under 44. Jerry Judy's back, though, Bogman. Does that mean we want to stack Denver?
I mean, you could. Washington.
Yep,
I think specifically Bridgewater, Sutton, and Judy.
Yep.
If you want to, you could throw
Or
Patrick
Fant
in there as well. Maybe Noah Fant as well. Washington's secondary is not good, and they even took Landon Collins, who's been rough there, and moved him and played him less snaps, and it didn't really work. He had some production, but defense wasn't that much better. So Sutton is my favorite play of the week, I think, of anything. He's a little pricey, 64 and 71. I don't care. Fuller getting dusted. Anyone on the other side get dust. Doesn't matter. Sutton should have an enormous week. I'm really excited about him. Javonte is fine at 53 and 59. I think I'd rather take Melvin Gordon just because he's cheaper. So Javante's cheaper on FanDuel. Gordon is cheaper on DraftKings. I'll take whoever's cheaper, right? They're so similar. Even last week, they both scored a receiving touchdown. Very weird. And, they put up 14 points. So, but Sutton, I love. Terry McLaurin, you can play 76 and 74. Don't really like any other wide receivers for Washington. Ricky Seals-Jones at 38 and 54 continues to be a decent price. And they just have no middle linebackers for this team. We saw Josie Jewell go down in the beginning of the year. And then we just saw A.J. Johnson go down as well. So they just traded some picks for Kenny Young from the Rams. Justin Strand and Kenny Young are your two inside linebackers for the Denver Broncos. I bet they wish they would have picked up Jalen Smith at this point. But, so there's not a lot of defense over the middle. So I'm going to like Ricky Seals-Jones in this game too.
Yeah, I don't mind a little Teddy B to Sutton to Judy. Judy at 49 on DK, 6,000 on FanDuel is an awesome price tag. Big fan of that price tag this week in tournaments. Sutton's probably more the cash game play, but stackable. T-Mac's always in play. His price tag's up there. It stinks, but it's there. I like the call on Ricky Seals-Jones as well. If you had to take a cheap stack, would you rather have Denver or Atlanta?
Denver. I'd rather have Denver.
That's good. Good to know. But all right. That'll wrap up all 12 games, which means touchdowns calls of the week. We swept the board last week. Ryan Humphries, Bogman, and myself, 3-4-3. And you know how you win some free swag, folks? They tweeted out on the LineStar Twitter account, LineStar app on Twitter. And if you just retweet that lucky thing, three lucky people will get paired up with each one of us. And if our guy finds the end zone, you win some free swag. So Bogman, Week 8 edition. Who's your touchdown call of the week?
Give me Cortland Sutton. I just mentioned he's going to draw Fuller. Don't have the biggest trust in Teddy Bridgewater, but I do trust in my man Cortland Sutton. So I think he gets in the end zone against Washington this week. Lock it up.
I like that one. And I talked to Big Talk earlier. I'm going Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs week. It's happening. He's going to torch the Dolphins man coverage. It's going to be ugly. Going to be ugly, folks. But that'll wrap us up. That'll wrap us up for the week, Bogman. Week 8 main slate in the books. Hope you guys enjoyed the pre-snap episodes this week. If you do, if you can give us a rate and review on iTunes, we truly would appreciate it. Or go check us out on the LineStar YouTube channel. Subscribe. Give the old thumbs up there. Would mean a lot to us as well. Check out Bogman on Twitter at Bogman Sports. I am at BD Hendrick. Good luck this weekend, everybody. We'll be back with you guys on Tuesday with another episode of the podcast.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to Pre-Snap Podcast, presented by LineStar app. Please like, comment, subscribe, and rate for good karma in your fantasy football games.